What's up, guys? How's it going? So today I wanted to talk about possibly the most important part about being a trader, which is adapting to market conditions. Now, on a base level, what you guys should understand is obviously the market is going to move differently, whether it's on the month, whether it's, different time frames, whether it's, different sessions. We are always going to be moving different, and the way we move is going to change over time. Your job as a trader is to identify this and adapt if you need to do that. The issue with a lot of people is they will get stuck up on a single idea, a single strategy, a single way of execution. And when that is not working, when that is not playing out, they, go crazy. It's like, the market's out to get me, blah, blah, all this stuff. Or they start breaking the rules. When in reality, no, the market is not out to get you. The market is here to tell you a story. It is just up to you as a trader to acknowledge it or ignore it, right? So on a base level, again, I want to go about explaining how I personally adapted to market conditions, especially because over the last, week and a half, 2 weeks, I would say, especially as continuation traders, the market has not really been moving too aggressively during New York Open, which obviously makes it pretty difficult to catch a trade since we are not moving. And a lot of people have been struggling, right? Whether you're losing or maybe you haven't taken many trades. I'm going to talk about how you can adapt. And again, it doesn't really matter how you trade, whether you trade continuations like me, whether you trade reversals, support and resistance, bull flags, trend lines, whatever you guys trade, it does not really matter. The most important thing that matters is one, let's write it out, identifying your strong suit. Okay, this is the most important thing as a trader. And this is the thing that people overlook. People think there's a one size fits all for trading, right? Oh, this strategy, this, or this way of execution always works, or this guy, no, that is never going to work. The way you become a profitable trader is honestly seeing what works for you. And every single person is going to execute slightly differently because at the end of the day, it is your own mind that is looking at these candles and you're executing off of your own memory and based off of data. So starting off, it is important to identify your strong suit as a trader. What are you good at doing? Are you good at predicting where price is going to reverse from? Are you good at predicting where price is going to go on some time frame, right? And then two, identifying, I cannot spell, guys, it's not my strong suit, but identifying what you are not good at, okay? So on a base level, for me specifically, what I will tell you guys, what am I good at? I think I'm relatively good at identifying where price is going to draw towards on a higher time frame, where price is going to sweep, what levels of liquidity is going to get taken, stuff like that. What am I not good at? I am not good at predicting, specifically what point price is going to reverse at, or, if we're ranging, when are we going to break out of the range? That is examples of stuff I cannot predict. How do I know I can't predict this? Literally just looking back on my data, I see what works, the easy trades I can spot. Everything else besides that, it's like, hey, I don't know how to trade and I don't want to try to trade, because all you have to do as a trader is repeat your wins and then, slowly weed out some of those losses. Now, with that being said, right, if we look at, the last, week and a half, and we go to, New York session, which is what I assume a lot of you guys will trade. One thing that you can notice is the volume has simply not been there. If we look at kind of the window that I like to trade from, 9:30 to 11, if we look at like Tuesday, for example, this week, from market open, we moved literally maybe 50 points, right? Which is not a lot at all. And in those 50 points, we pretty much, in my window, did nothing, right? This is something I cannot trade. I will never be able to predict this because it is not moving to what I am good at, which is, again, predicting where it's going to move higher time frame, right? If I kind of zoom out here, I'm going to be honest, I could really not tell you what's going to happen. I could tell you, maybe we're going to trend towards this low right here, rebalance before we go higher, but it's like, is this something I'm going to be super confident in? No, it's not, and I'm not fully sure, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to try to predict it, especially intraday, right? On the higher time frames, I like to stick on what I can read. Right here on the 4-hour time frame, I think I can read it relatively well because it's pretty simple, right? You see price moving up, leaving a gap, and then, hey, it's open. It looks like possibly we can trend towards it. But then, you scale down to your time frame. What do you see on the 5-minute, the lower time frames, the 15-minute? It is not confirming that, and it is not delivering, right? Especially, scaling down even more on the 1 minute. Like, this is where a lot of you guys get burnt, right? Trying to predict what's going to happen when price is simply just not delivering. We're just not wanting to make a move. Now, granted, Tuesday, day before FOMC, we had the big, rate cut announcement. So obviously you can kind of assume, why we're moving slower, but that's an example. Scrolling back to, Monday as well. Not like we really had, the biggest move after this kind of up move, kind of just fell back into range, and there we go. So again, it is important to identify what you are not good at predicting. For me, for example, okay, besides today, the last futures trade I was able to take was last Wednesday, okay? Because literally besides that, I was not able to predict. Like, I was not able to understand where the market is going to move simply just because we really have not been moving, right? We really have not been getting these strong moves, at least during New York, right? So what can I do? I can either complain, I can either try to force a trade and lose, or what can I do? I can adapt and see what works for me. What works for me, easy one, is just not trading when I don't know how to trade. And the second one is moving to time frames and adjusting my trading to where I can understand. This is an example of a trade I took last night overnight, and I was pretty confident in this trade, because if I do my higher time frame analysis, which I'm, pretty decent at, I would like to say, I see, hey, price tapped this gap, price wicked this low, rejected it super aggressively, flipped with the side of the trend, all-time high right there, going into, market open, Asia open, price displaces aggressively on the hourly time frame, confirming this idea, and that was a trade I'm fine taking, right? And I'm taking that because it is one of my strong suits. I'm not trying to predict what the next couple of minute candles are gonna do when the 1 minute chart is just not moving, right? If we look at, for example, a comparison to, let's look at maybe Tuesday, right? Look at something like this. I cannot predict this. I could not tell you where we're gonna go, and I don't want to try to predict it. But a lot of people will get caught up in this. Now, obviously, if your strategy is, optimal to trading these conditions, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just specifically telling you for myself, and that is why it is so important to understand, hey, when do you perform well at? When do you not perform well at? Okay, that is the only thing that you should be looking at as a trader. And once you become blind to that, once you start ignoring that, you are going to take so many losses. The losses will start to add up, and you will feel like you are losing your edge. When in reality, you are just being blind. A lot of times, and I always will tell people this, if you scale out to some time frame, if you look at, the bigger picture, you will see on a base level why the market is doing what it is doing, right? It's not out to get you. It's not, oh, like, I'm just unlucky, blah, 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 like it's just not working anymore. No, that's not the case. The case is you're just kind of getting predetermined on an idea set of, oh, I have to trade this way. I have to, wait intraday. I have to, catch a trade every single day. I have to, do this, do that. When in reality, it's like, dude, if the market is telling you that it's not really trying to move, if the market is telling you something, a way of trading that doesn't suit you, why would you try to predict it? Okay, why would you try to force a setup that doesn't follow your rules, your conditions, right? You have to have these guidelines set. For me specifically, all guidelines I really need to see is just, I'm able to see where price is going to go. I need to see clear candles. I need to see not really wicks, and I don't want to see accumulation, range conditions on the time frame I'm at. So if I'm executing off the 15 minute, I don't want to see that candle on the 15 minute, right? If executing on the hourly, I don't want to see those, candles on the hourly time frame. And that is what I would say is my strong suit, identifying what I want to see and what I don't want to see, right? That is why, it can be simple. It can be simple to adapt because all you're doing is making a, conclusion based on data, right? Making a conclusion based off of what you are good at. But the issue is, again, most people will not really do that because either they get stuck up on a certain idea of trading or they get stuck up on this strategy they have to follow. And what does that cause you to do? Be blind to the losses that are right in front of your face. The reason why you might be losing trades, the reason why, this stuff is happening, it could be right in front of your face with these candles right here. The issue is people don't really take notice to it. People will try to ignore it. People try to run from their problems. Whatever the issue is, that is why it is so important to reflect on your trading. Go back, See what way of trading works for you. See what you're good at, right? Like we talked about, are you good at, predicting where price is going to go? Are you good at, catching a, low risk but higher RR trade? What are you good at doing, right? What is your strong suit at a trader? At the end of the day, no two traders are ever going to think the same. You'll never see two traders that take every single one of the same trades, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, the human brain, two different brains are not going to think the exact same. We're still human. We're still going to have emotions. We're going to still have different opinions, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, the best part about being a trader is when you fully trust yourself. You fully trust yourself. You've, through your trading, seen what works, what does not work, and obviously, what do you have to do? Continue doing what works, and then do less of what doesn't work. And this is like the biggest thing that I feel like a lot of people forget about, because they get into this idea, oh, I have to, grind out this strategy. I have to backtest so long. I have to do all this stuff. But what do they, forget? They forget to trust themselves. They forget to actually adapt. Another example too, psychologically wise, if you guys notice, there's specific days or specific conditions that mess with your head, right? Price is, chopping, and you're like tempted to take a trade. You know that you're going to slip up psychology wise. Walk away. Just walk away. That is listening to yourself, right? Just like you can adapt to market conditions, you should adapt to your own brain, your own psychology, understanding when are you in a good spot to trade mentally, when are you not in a good spot to trade mentally, right? If you feel like, price has maybe not been delivering the best, and you haven't had a trade maybe in a couple days, and you feel like you're rushing to take a trade, you feel like you want to take a trade, you're chasing that P&L, take the day off, step away, listen to yourself. Because at the end of the day, whenever you try to rush trading, either on a base level, you try to take setups that you shouldn't be taking, all that's going to happen is, maybe you go some time without a setup, you get impatient, and then you take a stupid setup. What are you going to do? You've flaked on your own confidence. You flaked on your strong point as a trader, which is waiting. And what could happen? You ruin your confidence, right? You get into a bad mental state. You get into this like negative feedback loop. And when the conditions come, when time comes where you're actually able to predict, you're able to see clearly, your strategy appears, as you guys like to call it, you might not take those trades. You might hesitate. You might do this. Why? Because you've already ruined your psychology. You've ruined your mental battery with trades that you shouldn't be taking, right? I would like to say, if you guys are taking days off of trading, take it as vacation. A day where you have, 0 on the day, that is a positive day. It is a day where you didn't lose money. And in this game, knowing that most people lose money, why do most people lose money? Because they can't beat that battle against themselves. Last video, I talked about, constantly comparing yourself to others and how that gets into people's head, right? Biggest issue, one of the biggest issues I've seen with people. But on top of that, again, you not listening to yourself, you not realizing what the true problem is, and adapting to what your strong suits are. Not doing that is going to be the downfall of yourself as a trader, especially if you want to be in this for the long game. You don't want to be unconfident. You don't want to be stressed. You're like, oh, the market's not moving good. Like, how am I going to afford to live? All this stuff. No, you understand, hey, what is my strong suit? I'm going to trade my strong suit. What is not my strong suit? I'm not going to trade that. And again, the only way to look at that is look back on your data, right? Taking your good trades, look at your good trades, screenshot them, save them, look back on them. All you have to do is repeat that, right? And then please screenshot those bad trades. Let's say this week, right? A lot of people, I know got caught up in some of this range, right? Let's say that happened to you. That is fine. But please journal it. Save this trade, right? Save the example, screenshot it, put it somewhere you can see, so the next time it comes up, you understand, hey, I'm not good at predicting this. I'm not going to try. I'm just going to take my day off. And I understand I'm going to wait for a day, probabilities are going to bid on. For me specifically, I'll give you an example. This week, intraday, besides kind of the trade I showed you, there was absolutely no trades. I did not see a single thing I was confident in until today. We had this, beautiful kind of move in my eyes, following everything I need to see. Price reacting off of something, going towards a bullish target, and then confirming cleanly on the lower time frames right here. And I was able to catch, not a crazy trade, but I was actually able to catch a trade I was confident in. And that is what people fail to understand. that area of confidence, okay? You have to build up your confidence. You have to work on that. You have to listen to yourself and you have to adapt, okay? So I know that was a little yap. I know we went kind of all over the place, but it is one of the most important things if you want to be here for a long time. The issue is a lot of people get caught up on making quick money. They get into the ideas like, oh, well, I'm gonna run up all this money. Or like maybe you get on a win streak and then you just want to keep on trading. You get an ego. You think you can't lose. Conditions come that don't suit your model. You don't adapt, and what happens? You get burnt. Just as easily as you made that money, it gets taken away. But when you actually adapt, you learn when you should, be hands off, when it's important to listen to yourself. Maybe you're having a bad psych day. Stuff like this is going to prevent that catastrophe from happening, right? Long term, right? Long term, you want to make trading as least stressful as possible, and you want to make it as consistent as possible. The only way to do that is you're constantly adapting to the market, you're constantly learning from your losses, and you're constantly listening to yourself and trusting only yourself. Not anyone else. You trust yourself, okay? You don't look for answers, no. You look at your own trading, you reflect on it, you see what works, you see what doesn't work, do more of what works, do less of what doesn't work. That's all it comes down to. And it's getting pretty dark outside. But hope you guys enjoyed that little yap spree. I hope it helped some of you guys. Maybe you can reflect a little bit. Again, there's nothing wrong with taking losses. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. The only thing there's wrong with is making the same mistake 10 times, right? At that point, it's really like, what are you doing, right? If you make the same mistake a couple times, right? Once, twice, it's like, okay. 3 times, like, come on, bro, what are we doing? And then some people will do it 100 times. It's like, at that point, bro, why are you even trying? So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that little yap spree. I will catch you guys in the next video.